recording. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Moxie Works Hours. And this is our Moxie Works Hours Essentials, specifically on MoxiPresent. And today we're going to cover creating a buyer tour. My name is Alex Cash. I'll be your host, and I will be joined by my teammates. I think we have Angie Myers, who's on the line. She is going to be presenting live a buyer tour live from MoxiPresent. Myself, I think Debbie might be on the call as well. Debbie, are you here? Angie, are you here? Dean, are you here?
Dean is here.
Awesome. Angie's here. We have also our MoxieWorks teammates, Amy and Brett. They may be out on site at another event. So usually we have them as our subject matter experts also on the call. But today we're going to have Angie, myself, Debbie, Dean, who are going to be available to facilitate any questions that you have on the chat. So if you've been on these calls before, you know, if you have questions, just kind of fire them away in the chat window. If it's not specific to one of us, please send it to everyone. And that way we can reply to everybody and everybody can see the response. Okay. And a few other housekeeping items. This call is being recorded. So anything that you put in chat, anything that you ask live, it's all going to be recorded and you will be able to share this to all the registrants. So if you plan on missing a future call, as long as you're registered, you should receive a follow-up email with the recording link, as well as any of the important documentation that we talk about. Let's say it's a PDF file, a hyperlink, things like that. So just make sure at the minimum, please register for any calls in the future. And let's see, we just wanted to make sure that this call, that you all are able to ask any questions that you have. So feel free to just kind of abuse that chat if you like, because that's why we have these, right? Here's our agenda for today. In addition to getting your questions answered, we're going to talk about an overview of what this session is all about. We're going to talk about testimonial. And I think once you hear these real life stories, these are just fresh, right? Because everybody knows that we're in early access and these testimonies we're just kind of getting daily, right? So we're going to share that with you to kind of hopefully get you even more motivated. We're going to share a quick tip. I'm going to do a quick, I don't know, a couple of minutes on INRIX drive time, which is a really cool feature within MoxiPresent. And then Angie is going to go in detail into the MoxiPresent buyer tour feature. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about support. We want to make sure that you always get your questions answered, and quick Q&A. So if you have questions that you want to ask live that you don't want to put in chat, feel free, make sure you write it down. So number one, so you don't forget. And then also just save it and you could, we'll unmute everybody where you can ask your questions live, okay? MoxiWorks Hours Overview, just kind of quick level set. Who is this for? It's for agents, leadership, product champion, basically everybody at your office, so that everybody knows what the value is in MoxiWorks. What this session is all about. We describe your support options, of course, right? We're going to go into deep dive best practices on specific tools. Today, buyer tours. We're going to identify, additional training resources, where to go from here, right? So some of you know where to go already. A lot of you who are new to the platform, okay, where do I get documentation? Where do I get that video? We're going to show you exactly where to find that. Another item that we just want to point out, this is really not designed for technical support, right? We want to make sure that this is more strategic, right? So we don't want to really spend much time unless it's a quick answer in chat or you can ask live, but technical support, we have resources for that as well. Registration link is the same every other week, right? If you click on that registration link, and I think Angie or somebody on the team can put that into the chat, you can register for multiple sessions at a time. A couple quick tips or kind of details on our session today. Twice a month, every other week, on Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Just kind of make sure you can kind of put that in your calendar already so that you won't miss the live session. Why do we have these, right? Of course, we want to share and teach you the MoxieWorks platform, the different products, the different modules, and from SMEs or subject matter experts. Learn best practices, ask questions live, right? Live demo. That's one thing that we've heard time and time again from our audience, from our participants. Can we see it live? We want to see it in action. Of course, if you are a participant and of course a registrant, you get the recording link. This is also a forum for you to ask any questions that you'd like. May not be specifically on today's topic. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have, like let's say today, something on Moxie Impress. Okay, put that in chat. And of course, we want to build community. And just like we had that comment earlier, we want to be able to share ideas where, who is it, Christine, who unmuted herself, where agents wanted to know if a customer opened a MoxiPresent CMA. You cannot see that in MoxiPresent, but you can see that in Moxie Engage. Because the two are integrated, highly integrated, you can see that activity in Moxie Engage. And thank you, Christine, for sharing that. I'm hoping I got that name right. And how biweekly sessions, unique topics every other week. We got a unique topic, and of course, learn from our SMEs. Quick overview. The MoxiWorks suite is comprised of several products. Lots of you already have had the phase one, or what we call the marketing pack. That's MoxiPresent, Moxie Impress. Today, we're going to focus on MoxiPresent, a specific feature within MoxiPresent. Very important to point out is that each one of these products has many facets, many features. And it's going to be challenging if you want to kind of tackle everything all at once. So as we kind of peel the onion, so to speak, we can learn specific nuggets of a particular platform, such as MoxiPresent. The buyer tours is what we're going to focus on today. And of course, the rest of the products. Some of you are right in the midst of receiving this productivity pack. This is phase two. I think right now we're in the throes of a lot of you getting this rolled out into your various offices. And that's where if you're an agent, Moxie websites, Moxie Engage. Moxie websites, I think that's self-explanatory, where you can create your own custom website within a few clicks, or you can really customize if you want to differentiate yourself. Moxie Engage, that's CRM, right? This ties into the other platforms, the other products, I should say, of the platform. You heard Shelly mention Moxie Talent. For those of you who are agents, just want to be clear, you're not going to have access to this. This is just for your leadership team, admin staff, your recruiters, managers, and the like. Okay, so just want to make sure that you all understand this part. Just really want to kick off things with a testimonial. I think this is very compelling, kind of set the stage of what you're going to be hearing today on today's topic. Testimonial, this is kind of fresh, hot off the press. I think it was maybe earlier this week, right? One of our BHG RE affiliates, Kendall Caputo, some of you may know him. I received a direct referral from an agent. The buyer did not want to set up a meeting, just wanted to drive around and get the lay of the land, right? I think some of you may have heard this kind of verbiage from your customers, maybe once or twice, right? Code for, we don't want to get stuck meeting you or working with you. Make sense? All right, so here's what this person did. I told him if he gave me an idea of what he was looking for, I would send him a suggested route. And that's what we're talking about today, buyer tours. He gave me his criteria and I sent him a Moxie buyer tour. Here is the email I just received from him. Kendall, that map is fantastic. I can't thank you enough. You made it so easy for us to get started. I hope to meet you in person to thank you properly. I think when you think about the positive, right? What was obtained from the simple response using the tools that we're about to show you and to kind of kickstart that relationship with that prospective buyer. Huge, right? Any questions on what we're about to undertake today? Feel free to put in chat. And also, if you have a similar testimonial, we're going to go, I think, over another testimony at the end of our session today. But if you have a testimony that you would like to share, feel free to either unmute yourself at the end or mention it in chat, because we love to hear your story, right? Excellent. Quick tip. The INRIX drive time. Is everybody familiar with the INRIX drive time feature in MoxiPresent? Anybody in chat? Yes, no, I never heard of it. What is that? Please put in chat your response so that we can get an idea as to, is this kind of foreign to everybody, or is this okay? So a lot of you, I'm a nerd. I'll learn it quickly. No clue, no clue. All right. So this is why you want to be on our MoxieWorks hours. Yes, it's in our MLS. Okay, very good. So some of you have no idea that you have it at your fingertips. Make sense? So I'm going to show you, but of course, you can always get information at support.moxieworks.com. You're in there. You're going to find a quick one-page PDF that you can easily download. That's actually a half a page. It's so easy. Okay, so here's what it looks like. I'm going to go live into my system now. Okay, but it's called the INRIX drive time. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share momentarily and then switch screens. Okay, so sorry, folks. I'm going to share. Let's see here. Share. Does everybody see my presentations?
I can see it.
Yes. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. This is right. MoxiPresent. You can see my toolbar at the upper part of my screen. And I'm going to go into the Tony Stark buyer tour. I think, Angie, you created this, right? We have Tony Stark. We had the Tony Stark buyer. Iron Man himself, right? So I hit the, I'm sorry, I hit the pencil icon, okay? So I hit the pencil icon. I forgot to mention that. All right. And it gives me to this next screen. And you can see the INRIX drive time. It's there, right? And what is this? It's optional. It's got a little car next to it, little car icon, but I'm going to hit the plus sign. My buyer wants to know if he's buying a home, she's buying a home, how far it is, because travel a lot out of town. How far is the drive time to the Baltimore airport? Not miles, but minutes. So in INRIX, they have this slogan, or they're saying minutes over miles. Okay, so that's how you could think about it. I set that location, I hit continue. Yeah, and I put some MLS numbers. You can see I put MLS numbers, boom. I typed quickly and I hit details, right? I have 3 MLS active properties. The customer wants to know, okay, I like these. I'm going to hit details, right? You're showing them. INRIX drive time. Here's an option, right? Here's the details of all the property, right? But I'm going to say INRIX drive time. Oh, okay. So you can see here is the weekday, right? That's what we're really concerned with. INRIX drive time from this property to the airport based on weekday and based on the time of day. Does that make sense? So they can get a really good idea as to how long it's going to, on average, take them. Not currently, like when you type in on your iPhone or your Android, right? You're going to the airport right now. Like right now, for a lot of us, it's not, what do you call it? Traffic time, right? It's not where people are commuting. But here, this INRIX drive time is that average at this particular time at 11 a.m. Make sense? That's home to work. Or you can go work to home. See how that works? And you could see on the, I think it's the y-axis right here in minutes, the y-axis, it shows you in minutes. So if I left at 5 a.m., it's only 32 minutes. But if I left at 8 a.m., it's a little bit longer commute. Any questions on the INRIX drive time? I think it's simple, but look at the power of what you can do for your customers, right? Especially when they're concerned about what location they are looking to buy a house because of proximity to grandma or grandma's house, grandma or grandpa's house, or the daycare or school or what have you. Any questions? Any questions in chat? Angie, Dean, Debbie, that we should address at the moment before we move on? That's the INRIX drive time. And hopefully now all of you who answered no on that chat, you know that you have access to it. And again, those little details, right? Your customer must, oh, wow, okay. Again, INRIX drive time tab, click, and there we go.
Alex, quick question from Janine. Can you reverse search? Meaning, can you do listings within a distance to the airport? Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Yes.
Maybe Angie, you want to cover that, Angie?
Yeah, you can actually do that. So you can actually hit the INRIX drive time there, and you can actually put in, I know a lot of clients.
Yeah, you put the address there, right?
Yeah, they want to say,
Yeah.
this is where I work and I only want to have like a 20-minute commute to work. You can put that in and it'll actually give them a map of all of the places. And as long as they choose within that map, their drive time will match what their goal is.
Yeah.
Great. And Michelle asked, can you print it and provide it to your buyer?
Yes. Well, anything that's in a window, you could print that. Yeah. Print.
Excellent. And I think we've got one more, or send them a link, right?
Yep. Other questions? And I'm going to switch my screen real quick. Other questions?
I think that was it.
Excellent. All right. So what we are going to do next is 15 minutes of Moxie Works, and Angie is going to talk in detail, actually with a live demo of the buyer tour feature of MoxiPresent. So Angie, would you like to take over the screen?
Alrighty. So let's see here. Make sure I do this correctly. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So you're gonna have to let me in, Alex.
Ah, I have the power.
You have the power.
Let's see. Let me find you, Angie. More. How's that?
Oh, there we go. I think that let's see. Yep, let's do that. Alrighty. So hopefully now you can see my screen.
Perfect.
Alrighty, so what I'm gonna do is actually start from scratch. We have these lovely, so someone in the chat did ask how long these would be available, anything that you create. So I've actually used this tool for, I wanna say about 4 years. And I had about 15 pages of presentation. So it's not gonna delete anything that you don't wanna delete. You can archive things, you can go back to them later. And I always highly recommend that you create new. So that's something you always want to start from scratch when you build a presentation. You can go in and build templates out, but we're going to create new, and we're going to do a buyer tour. So with that buyer tour, oh, it's gonna restart me here. My internet is not happy. There we go. You'll see here, that's the third selection. We have our buyer guide. We have a seller presentation. We're going to focus now on the buyer tour. And that's just going to guide them from listing to listing, so they do have that detailed experience. You'll see that there are some brokerage templates in this system for me. I will have my own templates as well. If I create a buyer tour that I really like, I can save that template. I can use that template when I create new the next time. It's just much more efficient. I don't have to go back and forth with taking out pages or adding pages. It's always going to be the way that I want it to be for my business. I'm going to go ahead and go with the default buyer tour. And then we're going to prepare for. So this is where we're able to add maybe a community, maybe the buyer's name. I'm just going to go ahead and go with Mr. Stark here since he's on my brain. And I'm going to choose my Bright MLS. So I'm out of the Baltimore area. This is my MLS. Your MLS will come up. If you have multiples, just make sure that you're choosing the correct one. And here we have a classic. And we also have luxury. So I'm going to just go ahead with the classic. I'm going to allow notes and ratings. So we'll get into that in just a moment. That's going to be the option for your client to be able to notate things, and you'll be able to get that information. I'm going to hit create, and you'll see now it kind of looks like the system has spazzed out. It does take just a minute for it to pop up, so don't panic. You'll see here from scratch what Alex was showing is here with the index drive time, we can go in and utilize that to begin this buyer tour if necessary. We can also upload a photo. So this is going to appear on your cover page, on your email preview, your presentation dashboard. Generally, what I always like to do was drive through the neighborhood, go in and get that picture of the house where we're going to start. That way it kind of gives them, it could be your office location if they're meeting you at the office. I'm just going to throw in that little drive-by house picture there so that I have something. Could be your logo. You guys can play around with that, really personalize that. Then we're going to go on to the search tab. What that's going to do is give me two different options of adding the homes that we're about to tour together. If you guys are more comfortable and you want to go into your local MLS and you want to do that search, or maybe the client came back and said, hey, you sent me XYZ and I want to send, CABC, I can go in very easily and just type in the MLS numbers. You would just type them in, commas in between, hit this little search button, and it's going to pop up with all of those properties for you. Let's say that you want to do a search in the system. You do have that capability. I'm going to go ahead and use Towson. It's just something local to me where I know that there are a lot of active properties. So you'll see here there's active properties. It's going to start at the very maximum price and work its way down. So I can go into the system and say, look, they're looking for 0 to maybe 500,000. I'm going to apply that, and that's going to eliminate anything that is outside of their price parameter. I can also add the minimum bed, bath, those things. And there is a filter button here if you want to add additional information. We all have those buyers that come to us and say, I need to have a garage, or I need to have a swimming pool, or it needs to be a, one level living. Whatever it is that they're saying to you, you can add to the filters. And then you can go through the system, and let's say this particular client said, I want something that's up to 500,000. You can go in and literally just click on the properties that you want to include in your property tour. So, anything that you don't select here will not be included. You do have the opportunity to go back and edit this later. It's not set in stone. So that's the other thing that I like. We know that buyers sometimes can be a little finicky. Maybe they come back after looking at the tour and they say, I really don't like the way that the Alameda looks. I don't want to look at the Alameda. We can go in, we can take that out. No harm, no foul. Once we have the properties that we would like to show them, and by the way, it will look similar if you add the MLS numbers yourself. You'll see here that it's kind of given us on the map what that's going to look like. If you really want to, get out of the map and go back into it, you can kind of see, how far away you may be from anything that you need. And once we have all of those particular listings, we're going to hit the continue button down here on the bottom right-hand side. That's going to take about a second. The tour order is now what we're able to figure out. We can go in here and change this order, and we're able to look at it on the map. For whatever reason, this time it did give me a pretty decent order. You guys will be familiar with the area where you're showing. For example, right now I'm looking at this map and I can actually, in my head, picture where a lot of these things are. I know the area very well, and I know that this is a really good place to start. But let's say that I wanted to change that up. Maybe I want to meet them down, a little more south. I can go in and hit this change order button and very easily drag and drop. So I can just drag and drop, and you'll see now it's changing the order on my map. So I can completely reverse the map if I want to and tweak it. So now you can see I have one starting at the bottom. We're starting south down near the hospital, and then we're going to work our way up past the university up a little bit more north there. So once I get this in the order that I want to show them, and again, you can save the order, make sure that you save it. One other thing that I do like to point out here is that you can add a custom listing. So this may be for anyone who has a brokerage exclusive. You're able to add that in, whether it's a for sale by owner, somebody wants to see a FSBO, you're able to click on that, add that information, and it will add it into this list for you. And again, you can put that in any order that you would want it to be in. And I like this too, just because it lets me look on the map, and it lets me see, maybe this is the best order. If their houses are closer together, maybe I want to go in and change 4 and 5. I can do that. I can, maybe someone says, can I meet you here instead? You have that flexibility there. When we have that done, we're going to go ahead and hit continue. And then you'll see here that lovely photo that we put in is going to be inserted into our cover page. We're going to have the client's name, anything that we wrote there, if it's the communities, and today's date's going to pop up. And if Mr. Stark opens this tomorrow, it's going to say March 4th. And if he opens it up several days from now, it will always give your client the current date. The other benefit is it's going to have your photo. It's going to be branded for you and for your brokerage. Looks very, very professional. You can see here, this is our web view, and we can also switch that and see what is that going to look like from a print view as well. So if we want to change that photo, if we want to change that up somehow, we can do that. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see that you have different pages included. And instead of going through these one by one, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the web view to show you guys what this is actually going to look like for your client when he or she receives it. So here we have this presentation is ready. Your brokerage will be there. You do have your lovely cover photo. If your client goes in later and wants to jump ahead, there is a little hamburger menu, those little lines there. They can jump ahead to any page that they would like. We're going to go ahead to the listing location map. This is just personally one of my favorites. It's going to show what each property we're going to be viewing on our tour, what that looks like, the address, kind of a little bit of, the little overview there. And when we hover over the photo, if you pay close attention to the numbers, I'll hover over the photo. It's going to actually kind of shadow that on the map for me so that we can get a gist of which house is in which location. This is very helpful, at least for someone like me, and I'm sure many clients as well. I'm going to look at these houses with you, and I need to know what I'm looking for as well, so that I know when we're on our way to number 3, I'm looking for this type of house. When I get to number 2, I'm looking for this particular home. They can also click on any of the properties here. This is a live a live document. So when you send this to them, it's going to give them real live time. If I send this to you right now and a half an hour from now, this property is under contract, it will show that in your presentation, real time. And I know, especially in some markets, that's going to be critical. Things are on the market and they're off the market so quickly. We want to make sure, you know, when we come back and say, well, we can't look at this property now because it's under contract, they're not accepting any more showings, that they can actually see that reflected in the presentation. It's also going to give them the option for directions. So if we click on directions, it's going to take us right into Google. It's going to show where we are and how long it's going to take to get there. So that is a very good thing to have. Let's see if I can go back. All right, I think I nixed myself out of it. That's okay. If you ever do that, and I've done that from time to time because, you know, client calls, you're on the phone, you're like, oh man, I got to get back to it. Here we have it right here. Anything that I changed is going to be in there, and I can go ahead and click on the pencil. That's going to take me back in. I can go right back to my pages, exactly what I was doing before. That's another thing that I really appreciate because, again, I know you guys are busy and you know as well as I do, you sit down to do this and a client calls and you have to stop what you're doing and do something else. The system is very good about letting you pick up where you left off. So back into that web view. This is something, again, that you can go into at any time. I can jump ahead if I want. So here I have that little menu again. I can jump through. This is just a different way to look at the same information. Again, if you click on any of these, you can go through and see all of the photos, all of the details, where it is on the map. Your client can get all of that information. You're providing that to them. A different way. And you don't have to include all of these. I'll show you in just a second how to take some of these pages out if you don't want them. But here's a great side-by-side comparison. We also have listing averages per the days on the market, home averages, another status comparison, price and days on the market, price and size. And if you hover, it will give you the property photos so that we know which property it is that we're looking at. And then here is Amy's profile. If she had a profile written here, that would come up as well. Just a very great way to share the information with them. You can send the information via email. It looks like here my little system is not happy with me. But if we send that information, we can send it via email to them. And the bonus too, sorry, my internet's a little wonky today. The bonus with doing that is I can send this presentation to myself, open the email on my phone, copy that particular link, and I can text this to my client as well. So you'll see here, I can send this to Mr. Tony Stark. Here I have his little Gmail. So I'm going to send that to him with a subject, with a greeting, with a message. I'm also getting a copy myself. I can add the PDF if he would like to print it out himself. If I want to print it out and hand it to him when we first meet, we can do that. And I can send that to him very easily. Before we go, I did want to point out just two things because I know I'm running out of time here. If you're in here and you're like, these are too many pages, I don't want this particular listing average, you can hit this button here to remove it. It's not gone forever. It's still in the system. It's just not going to be in this particular presentation. You can go in at any time and add that page back. Sorry that it keeps kicking me out. You can add that page back from your library. You can also create any other pages and include them. And last but not least, I would be remiss if I did not tell you there is a help button at the bottom. So I guarantee you, if you have a question, someone else has had the same question. So maybe I can say buyer tour, and I'm actually going to misspell it. Let's see if the bot can tell what I need help with. I need help with a buyer tour. The bot's going to come up and say, oh, you need help with a buyer tour. Here's a little information. How do you interact with this? Here's an overview. Did I help you? I can get in touch with someone. I can do a live chat. I can leave a message and have them get back to me. Or I can actually just jump into this, and you'll see here, it's going to give me a short training video. It's only 3 minutes. So if this didn't answer my question, I can say, no, I need help. It's related. It didn't answer, and it's going to go back and it's still going to try to help me get that answer. So hopefully I didn't talk too much and I didn't go too fast with all of that. Let's see if I can.
Angie, this is Dean. As you are currently having the support box open, I think this is super important to point out, because we do have a couple of questions that have been coming in the chat that could easily be answered here in the support bot, either by the bot itself, or can you schedule a call live with the tech support agent right from that box?
So I don't know that you can do that, but there is a more button here for help and feedback. So if you have any ideas, please let them know. I will tell you, from being a beta tester of this photo option was never here. Agents said, hey, we don't like these presentations. We think they're kind of ugly. Can you make them better? And they were given, the options that they suggested. The help and support here, that is going to take you into the support system. But actually, let's see in real time, if we say, hey, I need help, get in touch. We can go into a live chat, let them know, I'm having an issue with present. I need help with buyer tours. Start my chat. Someone will come back to me. So you can see I'm Q5 here. I got, I'm 5th in line. I can sit here for a few moments, but it's also going to say, hey, maybe you can find this in an article in the help center. Maybe you can do this instead while you're waiting. That you may be able to find that answer yourself. But if you don't, a live representative will come in. And I've actually used this myself as an employee trying to figure some of this stuff out. And they're very informative. Like, they really listen to what you're looking for, and they try to make sure before your chat is over, you have the answer you need. The other benefit is it's going to email you a copy of your chat. So if you're like me, I like to go back to the chat and look at some of that stuff in writing that they sent to me to make sure I got my answer. But that is there for you to kind of, as another option.
Fantastic. So we did have a couple of questions that came up while you were doing your presentation.
Okay.
So, and I know you've answered a few of them, but just to be sure, if the listing status changes before you go out to see the house, does it update them and say that they're either not available, or does it represent that status change in the report?
So what that'll do is that'll actually come up in the report. So you can see all of these listings. They were all live listings. They were all active. Once we go back into the pages and we look in any of the pages, they're all active. If you click on them, that's where it's going to say active, and you're going to be able to see if they've gone under contract. And I know, like, before I show a house, I would always double check. That's a great opportunity to kind of reach out to that buyer and say, hey, you know what, Southwick Drive, that just went pending. I'm going to go ahead and remove that from our buyer tour. And I'm going to resend that out to you, because obviously I don't want to show you anything that you don't have the ability to, place an offer on. And I can literally go in, it's this easy, and I can take that one out. And it's that easy to update this. Maybe something has just hit the market and you want to add it. You can go in, it'll pop up here, or you can add that additional MLS number. But the system is not going to send you an email and say, hey, by the way, Southwick Drive just went pending. That really is kind of up to the agent to look at it. But you will see down here, pending. Anything that pops up, it will show you in yellow if it's pending. And if we got all the way down to the bottom, this is a really big area here by the university. but if anything is sold, it's going to show you in red. So it is going to real-time update anything that you've chosen.
Yeah, I just want to point out for clarity for everybody on the line, what Angie was showing was the web version,
Mhm.
right? Versus that when she printed to a PDF, that is not going to be updated, obviously, right?
Correct.
But I just want to make sure everybody understood that, right? But that once you create that PDF, that's a point in time, right? So it's dated, right? It's basically locked. But if you send them that web version, it'll be updated with, like, let's say a new pending property that went from active to pending. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that, just to make sure everybody got that part. That their PDF is not going to update when they're opening it.
Correct.
Are we all set there, Angie?
We sure are.
All right, I'm gonna take over your screen if that's okay
Alrighty.
with you.
Sounds good to me.
And I'm going to go here and I'm going to go. Can everybody see my screen? Just want to make sure.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so what your buyer will see on their mobile device. So Angie just a second ago mentioned that you could send it to them on their mobile device. And probably most of you, that's where they're going to look for that buyer tour that you just sent them, yes? So we just have a quick few screenshots of what it's going to look like on their phone, yeah? So here is that email that you are going to send them that they receive, okay? So this is your buyer's phone, yeah? This is what it looked like on behalf of that agent, right? In the demo account, we have Amy Sharon. And then they're able to, this is kind of a scroll down, and excuse the tour preview is kind of cut. I just wanted to show that there's just scrolling down, continuation of the screen on the left. Okay, so you can see very nice, very easy to read, a couple of more screenshots. You can see how it looks on their screen. This is still part of your web version of that document that Angie sent to us. You can see side-by-side comps or comparable properties. You could see the status comparisons. And this again will be updated with, let's say, like this property on 707 Walker. If it went pending, it'd show up in a different color because this is the web version that your customer is viewing on their phone. And guess what? You can easily text that link that you just created, basically, right? That Angie showed us how to create on our laptop or on our desktop. And you could send it via text. So we just wanted to show how it looks like where you can just copy that link and just text it to them. Okay, of course, they got it in their email, but let's say you wanted to text it to them also. Questions, feel free to put that in chat. Another testimonial before we wrap everything up. Here's one from our friend at Coldwell Banker Realty, Patrick Kane. I'll read it to everybody so I don't mix anything up. One buyer couple refused to sign a buyer agency agreement at the beginning of our relationship. Can anybody relate to that? I sent a Moxie buyer presentation and included a buyer tour, also providing a CMA on each of the properties they were going to see with me. They were very impressed and signed right away, and it also helped in their decision-making process. To summarize, I utilized the Moxie buyer presentation with a client who was referred to me, and she was so impressed. I will also be selling their parents' home and her brother's home and finding both of them new homes as well. I love the Moxie presentations. They have helped me build my business. Keep in mind, folks, these are hot off the presses. You all know everybody's kind of more or less launched kind of at the same time very recently. And these are some of the testimonials that we are receiving on a daily basis. Again, feel free to put any of your stories that you have, email them to us, put them in chat. We can follow up with you that way, but we love to share these wins, what the benefit of the platform is providing to you folks, right? To your fellow colleagues. Resources for you, just want to quickly remind everybody, right? At your respective brand universities, whatever it may be, you have your learning library with self-paced learning, lots of resources. Keep in mind, this is from your brand. Plus, you have that second prong of the two-prong approach with MoxieWorks, and they got 10 years worth of information and resources on that support.moxieworks.com website. You don't need any login for that, but also for this, your brand university, your learning library, lots of resources. You can see MoxiPresent. If you're an instructor, you won't, if you are agent, not the instructor or leadership team, you won't see these additional tabs, but you can see your leadership team has access. If you are a new agent, they have learning rollout guides and presentations to share with you folks. Okay, there's videos on MoxiPresent. You can see all on your brand university's portal. Any questions on these? Here is if your agent participant, this is you, creating a template from a brokerage presentation. Support, we have a new link to share with everybody. And if Dean or Angie, if you could pop that into chat, everybody take a look at that. What are you going to find there? You're going to find technical support where you can submit a ticket, talk to a MoxieWorks support representative, right? Support.moxieworks.com, but this particular bit.ly link will have a little bit more, right? You can chat with the live MoxieWorks support person or with the intelligent Autobot. Some people call it the chatbot. Industry-wide case studies, right? FAQs, videos, resource guides, how-to guides, hot tips, tricks, screenshots, all of the above using this new support hyperlink that we have available for you. Any questions? Any questions? How are we doing in the chat there, Dean?
We're doing good, but we seem to have an issue with our link.
Oh, it's not working.
Yeah, it's not working.
Okay. So
Actually, it's working for a couple, but not everyone.
It's working. The first one I put, I had an uppercase I, and it's actually a lowercase L. So the second one that I put in the chat, it looks exactly the same. Sorry about that.
That explains it. No problem. Thank you.
Minor details, right? But yeah, make sure that you share that out if you're part of the leadership team, or share it with your colleagues. Hey, here's where we go for help. One-stop shop is kind of a quick one, but you got to make sure that it's that exact link, right? So no typos like you've just experienced on our side. So future MoxieWorks hours for the remaining part of March, we have, today's the 3rd, and we have 2 more slated for the rest of the month. After that, we're going to announce a new schedule with new topics. So that's going to be forthcoming. We're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. Any questions? If you are so inclined, if maybe Dean, if you can launch that poll, we just want to get a feel for how everybody kind of felt about today's session. We want to get your feedback on, you know, how we did, right? If you felt like, oh my gosh, we totally missed the mark, I didn't learn a thing, to yes, definitely going to help me with my business and help me create more transactions. Are you able to do that, Dean?
We shall see if we have the poll available. This is actually the opening poll. Let me see if I go to the closing poll.
Yep, you can scroll down, or
let's go to the closing poll. There we go.
And share that out, I think.
It is being shared right now.
Excellent. So if you can kind of give us some feedback, and also depending on what answer you put in that survey, it's strictly anonymous, by the way. If you can add anything in chat, that way we can, you know, maybe adjust or point that out in the next session, help us to become better, right? We want to make sure that we are tailoring these sessions for what our customers, you folks, our affiliates, are really looking for. Yes.
We'll give it a few more moments, Alex. We got a few people still filling in the first of 2 questions of the closing poll.
What was that second question again?
On a scale of 1 to 10 was the first question.
Yeah.
And then the second question was, what topics would you like to see covered more in depth during future MoxieWorks hours?
Very good. Yeah. And again, strictly anonymous. We'd love to hear from you. We want to make sure we're going to use this data as we move forward. Yes. So definitely add any additional comments that you have in chat, because in that Zoom poll, it doesn't allow us to have any like free form responses with respect to that particular Zoom poll. Other questions?
We had somebody come off mute that would like to ask a question.
Absolutely.
Yes, I also put it in the chat. There's a form to fill out for adding your vanity URL to point to your Moxie site. And on the form, it asks for your Moxie username, which is not readily available that I could find. On the support site, it says for you to click on your picture in the top right, but that's only if you're not using a broker, if you're not under a brokerage account. So I'm not sure what our individual username would be. Is that just your greenhouse login username?
It's a good question, Jacob. Dean, do you know that answer?
No, I don't. So that would be something you'll need to put in to question in support to make
Yeah,
sure that you're putting in the right one. What did they recommend?
I haven't heard from them. I submitted the question on the 28th of last month.
Okay, send us the
Yeah.
support ticket there, Jacob,
Okay.
so that we can escalate and follow up.
Yeah, because there may be other people that had the same question.
Great question. Boy, everybody, Jacob, where are you at home right now?
Yes, I'm at home.
He's in Hawaii time, so he is up early to attend our Moxie Works hours. That's dedication. Very good, Jacob.
Oh, come on. It started at 8. That's not early.
Yeah, and nice seeing you last week in Vegas. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the conference.
Sorry about the bird noise.
Look at you. Jacob lives in paradise. He's got these birds chirping outside. It's like he wants us to feel sorry for him, right, Jacob?
Yeah.
Excellent. Other questions? Thank you, Jacob. Really appreciate it. Other questions? We want to make sure that we have give you ample time to ask any questions live that you may. It doesn't have to be on Buyer Tours or MoxiPresent. Other questions that we can.
There's one question from Kathleen who said, "Is there a way to customize the brand colors on these presentations?"
Ooh.
So in my experience, the brand chooses the color. It is going to be the same color as the brand that you work for. There are options to go in. I know the listing presentation, you have multiple cover pages and templates for the presentation, but that would be something, I don't know, with the brands or whatever, that you can always go in. That's where I always say that feedback. If you have feedback for them or suggestions for Moxie, you can go in and leave that feedback. Of course, they're always going to go back to the brands and make sure that they're compliant. But if there's something that you don't see in there that you want, definitely reach out and let them know. I've seen some considerable and amazing changes over the years that are agent driven, so they are listening to you guys.
Yeah, and don't be shy about it, asking your colleagues to also say the same thing, right, Angie? We're kind of be squeaky in numbers, so to
Definitely.
speak. And also regarding the custom colors and everything, I think also on the Moxie websites, there's like selected colors that you have to pick from, right? I don't think you can change certain things.
And that may be a question that's better left for the chat in the lower right-hand corner, where you can get a definitive answer a lot sooner than maybe going to support and filling out a form and waiting for them to get back to you. That might be something that, a real live person on the other end can kind of dig into.
Oh yeah,
for you.
specifically if it's referring to colors, or let's say a template, or let's say a campaign of sort. Best to contact your brand representative, right? Because they're your voice into corporate, right? So anything like that, custom stuff, they want to hear from you, because when they hear it, right, from a lot of people, hey, they're going to say, hey, we need to make a change. Other questions? That was a great question. Other questions from the audience?
I have one.
Yes, Dana.
So our Moxie website is only pulling one agent's listings.
Yeah, I just responded to that. That's a
I
trouble
got
ticket.
it. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Other questions? We have 4 minutes, folks.
Alex, I think we made our way through all of the questions in the chat.
Excellent. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. That's on the 17th. Same time, same day of the week, but on 3/17. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Angie, for a job well done on that buyer tour. Thank you, Dean, for helping facilitate in the chat window. And thank you all for attending. Stay safe, everybody, and have a great rest of the week. Thank you all.
Good job, Alex.
Thank you.